From rock bottom to the bright lights, this is where redemption meets hustle. CEOs, entrepreneurs, creators, and comeback stories. This is real inspiration. Welcome to the GITT Up Podcast with your host, Adam Larkin. It's not just a show, it's a movement. Now let's get it. Today on the GITT Up Podcast, I've got a guy who defines what it means to build from the ground up. Brian Charles went from working with his hands to building an empire. Town and Country Auto, over 200 rental property locations, houses, hotels, flips, a roofing company, and remodeling projects that stretch across the region. But beyond business and grind, Brian's a man of faith, family, and perseverance. He's proof that when you put God first, keep your word, and never quit, you can build something that lasts generations. Brian, welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, Adam. Glad to be here.
Good to have you. So where are you originally from, Brian, and what was life like growing up?
I'm originally from eastern Kentucky, Pikeville. Grew up there. It's pretty poor. My dad's always, my whole family are loggers, and we grew up working in the logging industry. I can remember using Clydesdales to log with, and we got a bulldozer. That was just a great thing, you know. Then we got into the coal mines, started doing strip mining and all that. So, and working in the winters back then, I can remember the rivers were froze over. Like, I did not want to do that anymore. So that's what, I went to college. So that's what, I went to college and slowly, just started working away. But that's Eastern Kentucky is what gave me my work ethic.
Nice. So what was your first real hustle, like that moment you realized you had the entrepreneurial spark?
Well, it really probably started when I was in fifth grade. I was selling pencils and pens in class to my fellow students and got in trouble. The principal had to go to their office because I was undercutting the teachers because they were selling pencils and paper. So they forbid me to sell pencils and paper to students. So they used to have the little Rolodex, so you could squeeze it and put numbers on it, letters. So I started selling those letter by letter for 5 cents a piece. Like Susie loves Johnny. Just do the math at 5. So I still made the money. Then I started selling bubble gum. You could buy a pack of bubble gum for $1.37 for 7 packs. ROI probably $3 on it. Pretty good deal.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. I remember doing the same thing with like candy and candy bars and just anything you could fit in a book bag, right?
Right. Yep.
So was there ever a point early on where people doubted you? Like how'd you push through that?
My mom, I don't think they doubted me. They just didn't know. Because I was naturally, I like to buy, sell, and trade. I grew up doing that. I grew up poor, therefore, I don't think it was so much that I liked to buy and sell and trade. That's just how I got money to do extra things.
Right.
So from selling the bubble gum and the pencils and the paper and the letters, I started mowing lawns, just anything I do to make extra money. My parents were just poor. We didn't have a lot of extra of anything. Dad always worked at coal mines, and I just worked wherever I could. So if I wanted anything extra, I had to work extra. Yeah,
that's that'll definitely teach you a good work ethic early on, and to actually work hard and appreciate what you get.
Exactly.
Yeah. So looking back, besides that, like, what do you think shaped your work ethic the most? Like your upbringing, your faith, or struggles along the way?
I think what shaped me the most is that I just grew up poor. And I wanted better for my kids, like most parents, right? So, and for me, it was like my mom and dad always loved me. I mean, a lot of kids grow up and the parents abuse them or just a rough family. I didn't have that. My mom and dad fussed, fought, and argued, ended up getting divorced after 25 years. But all that being said, I always knew my parents loved me. So, but I always knew that I didn't want to put the burden on them. So anything extra, it was just in me to get. So I'd work and buy clothes or, when I started dating girls, I always had my own money. I didn't have to ask my parents for money to go out. I just worked all the time. And I just like providing. It's something that I didn't like depending on nobody else, my parents. So I only learned to live within what I had. So if I made $20 a day, I had $20 to spend or to reinvest somewhere else. I didn't have to borrow from my mom and dad or depend on them to give me money.
Right. Yeah, that's huge, actually having stuff for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you now own Town and Country Auto and over 200 rental properties. That's incredible, man. What were those early days like building your first business? I know you can probably talk about that for a minute.
Well, we talk about God and faith, and God has a sense of humor. So sometimes when you're going through something, you have no idea why, but most of the time the bad things I've been through is obviously my choices. It's just things I've chosen. So I went to school at Berea College, and I'd worked all summer to get a vehicle to bring to college. And Berea College was a school that they didn't want you to have a vehicle there. So I met a minister, parked a truck off a property. And to make a long story short, my senior year, I just finished my first semester. I got caught for the third time having a vehicle. They kicked me off property. I had 24 hours to leave campus, lost my Pell Grants, lost everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So all I had was my truck that I fought so hard to keep. And so I had to sell it to keep money because I did not want to go back home. So I sold the truck, got the money out of that and bought me an old beater, washed it, vacuumed it, cleaned it up, drove it, sold it again, made a little more money. Before you know it, I had 1 car, 2 car, 3 cars. And then, I had up to 15 cars. And then so I went back to college, applied, got back in, finished my degree, and worked for Shell Oil for probably 10 or 12 years doing accounting there. And then I still bought and sold on the side. And then eventually I just gave up my my full-time job and then went into buying and selling strictly automobiles. And the first month I went in business, I made more the first month than I did with the whole year working for another company. And at that point, I was just hooked.
Nice. So went from 1 to 15 cars quick. So you had that entrepreneurial spirit right out of the gate when you started actually buying cars.
Right. Yeah, buying and selling is very similar to like when I was in school, buying and selling gum, buying and selling pencils. It's inventory. You got to have a product somebody wants and present it before them and be able to replenish it. So it's just a different scale. So
Right.
Housing is exactly the same way.
Yeah, I had a bunch of different cars, and like you said, I'd use them for like a year or two, sell them, make money on them, get like trucks and jet skis and just different commodities or things that I knew I could make money on, but also use for myself. So it's like
Right.
maybe you buy a trailer or a truck for a purpose, but then you can sell it, and make money on it because you got a good deal on it.
But don't be married to nothing but your wife, right?
Right.
Everything has its price. Keep it, use it, cash out, go do it again.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. So how'd you go from buying like 1 or 2 properties to running an entire real estate operation with houses, hotels, and different flips?
Primarily during COVID, 2019, I'd bought a couple houses just for rental, just because, right? It seemed like the right thing to do. Some pretty good deals I ran across. Well, when COVID hit, we had 40 employees in the car business, and we got down to 3. So my wife and I realized real fast and quick we better find something secondary to do. And so during the COVID, we actually started buying properties. So we bought properties, and we began to we were flipping them at first. But the problem I got into was the capital gain. So you buy a house, you work, you sell it, make 50 grand on it. You got to pay 30% of that to the government. I was like, just because I had a good deal, I'm not paying 15% or 30%. But if you hold it 366 days, then your capital gains it's half. So I just started holding them. And as I held them, well, they were just renting and they were paying for themselves. And so I just, we still flip probably 4 or 5 a year, but now I buy everything and just hold it. So
That adds up in the long run.
It does.
Especially when you have a ton of properties.
Right.
That's huge.
It's just cash flow. Once you get it, it's kind of like doing the buy here, pay here in the cars. When you first start out, you got to have some money to get started. But once you get it rolling and payments coming in, it just, I had a guy tell me one time he had about 2,000 properties and he went to sell them. He said, I can't afford to sell it. I'm like, why? He said, he brings probably in about $2 million a month rental. He was offered like $40 million after capital gains. He was only going to keep maybe $25 million, something like that. He said, I bring that in 2 years. So I understand once it gets going, unless you just want to cash out and take the tax hit going, you have to continue. Right. So a rental game is not something you just dabble in. It's either you're all in or all out, because dealing with tenants, repairs, remodels. Obviously, it takes a lot of time, and it takes quite a few people. So 1 or 2 is not that big, but it will work you to death on a couple.
Right. Well, and I'm sure you need a good, reliable crew working for you too, because then, I mean, you got a ton of properties to manage.
Well, yeah, that's a learning curve. Because, when you first think, well, I can do this myself, and you get a couple and you get in there, then you get some guys that will hire you, and then they want money up front, and then not knowing, you give them a little money up front, then they come in, they basically start it and never finish it. So I've had a lot of those stories from contractors that's never done anything, or that started something, I had to pay somebody else to finish it. So I just started looking for guys that wanted a full-time job that could just be a handyman. And I just started using them. And so we built from 1 guy to 2 guys. Then we have 9 guys, that can do different things, plus subcontractors that keep us, we can do anything from roofing to concrete.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. So what's been one of the toughest challenges you faced managing that many moving parts?
People. Just people. Because people have it, and in this industry, whether your cars, houses, you can't do it by yourself. I don't care, it sounds good, but it takes people to grow your business. And when it starts growing, you got to have trustworthy people in your corner. So I always describe it as like a wheel or spoke. So as long as all the spokes are on that wheel, it spins correctly. You start getting a couple spokes bent, one misses, it starts wobbling. So when that happens, you have to be quick to replace it or to remove it or to straighten it back out. So people are the biggest problem, and keeping people from stealing from you.
Reliable crew, fine oil machine. Bad crew, all sorts of problems.
All sorts of problems, yeah. So depends how you pay the crew, if you pay them by hour or if you pay them by the day, and then keeping track of the work, because, I still have to run a car lot. That's my main bread and butter. So if I put somebody on a job, you have to inspect what you expect. So you have to go by and check on them, and sometimes they're just sitting in the truck, or so you end up. So GPS plays a big role. Camera systems that you can put in place on your workplace that ensures that you're getting what you're paying for.
Yeah, that's smart. So when it comes to flipping homes, what's your approach? Like quick turnaround? I know you said usually not, because you're trying to hold it for at least that 366
right.
to not get smoked on the taxes. And are you more about building the long-term value and the legacy?
Yes, I'm more about long-term, but you still flip a few here and there for cash flow, because you still need some cash flow, quick cash. But the thing about a car, you can buy a car, say today for $10,000. I can sell it today for $12,000, take my $2,000 and run. A house doesn't work that way. So if I buy a house today for, let's just say $100,000, and I want to sell it to you tomorrow for $150,000, well, you still got to do the deed search, even though I just did it. You have to have another attorney. You have to have closing costs. You have to have the inspections. And then whether you pay cash or get it financed, it's just a process. So it takes a lot longer to flip a house in terms of start to finish as opposed to a vehicle.
A lot more legalities involved in it.
A lot more. And the real estate game isn't a get-rich-quick game. Knowing what I know now, I just turned 54. If I would have done the real estate when I was in my 30s, if I just bought one a year, if I could have figured out how to do that, it's long-term. So you have to have, like you said, it's a long-term future. So for me, I'm just now got to the point to where, I could live on my real estate if I needed to. But I don't. I reinvest everything. I take a dime. I don't take a dime out of my real estate. Everything it makes goes right back into buying more properties and keeping them up.
Yeah, I've heard guy I know, he's actually worth like a few $100 million. He's like, get really good at leveraging debt. He's like, you see these, even like Elon Musk, guy's richest guy on the planet, but he's got more debt than anybody on the planet. You got to know how to invest and leverage debt.
100%. Yeah. And you have a good banker, because not everybody's going to trust you. Your bankers are like car dealers and attorneys. Everybody's been beat by somebody. So when you find a good banker and get that relationship with whatever bank you're going to bank with, and they get to know you, they trust you. Like the local banks I deal with, we bought houses in Florida, Myrtle Beach, and it's not even in their wheelhouse. But I've been with this particular bank since I've been 17 years old. So they know my history. So they always bring it before the board and they approve it, so.
Yeah, that's a good long relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just relationships, longevity, and keeping your word. I've never bounced a check in my life, owe people, but I've always paid what I owe. And your word, at the end of the day, you can sign any document you want. But if your word's no good, that signature's really no good. When I first got started, I was 17 years old. I went to 5 local banks. All I wanted was $5,000. They wouldn't give it to me. I said, look, I'm buying and selling cars. I had my little list, look, this is what I'm doing. I just need a little more capital so I could, scale this business. Nobody would even talk to me. 17 years old. So went to another bank, and the president of the bank brought me into his office. He asked me, he said, son, would you cheat on your wife? I'm like, sir, I'm not married. I said, but no, I can't imagine me doing that. I said, because my parents brought me up at your SBS, and I'm very loyal. I said, to my own hurt. He said, okay. He said, I'll give you $5,000 on your signature. So I asked him, I said, so why? What does me cheating on my wife have to do with you giving me money? He said, son, I'm just your banker. And if you're cheating on your wife and you go before God and man and you tell me you're going to do it, I'm just your banker. You're going to cheat me. So I've kind of used that same analogy that he used on me throughout life and when I hire people and then when I interview people.
Yeah, that shows a lot with integrity, right? It's like, doing what you say you're going to do when no one else is around, just doing the right thing. But also, like you're saying, an old school handshake's a lot better than any signature that's worth nothing.
It is. Like I tell my son now, which he owns his own business as well, when he was younger and worked for me, he said, Dad, fire this guy. This guy can't run your business. This guy is a terrible manager. He's this, he's that. And he was truthful to some degree. I said, but he was loyal. So I said, Jordan, I choose loyalty over experience any day. I can teach you how to buy a car. I can teach you how to fix a car. I can teach you how to build a house. I can teach you how to repair a house. I can't teach you loyalty. Either you have it or you don't. So for me, I choose loyalty every day over experience.
Absolutely. So you also own a roofing company and do remodeling for friends and family. What keeps you connected to like that hands-on work? Like, do you like doing it?
Well, the roofing company just starting that, so we've only done a couple, so that's a pretty good gig. But the friends and family thing is like cars. So people know I do cars, and friends and family, so they bring their cars to me, and I'll repair them. My facility, we have about 300 cars, 24 garage bay, so we constantly fix. I can do anything from a car to paint it, clean it, fix it, whatever it needs, we can do. So with friends and family, when they break down or something needs to be done, I'll pencil those guys in. So I don't really do outside work for nobody. It's kind of how in the housing industry, how it got started. So we sold a couple properties, some people in California, and they want me to manage the property. Like, well, I've never managed properties before for anybody else, but I build them. So if they break, I definitely know where to go, how to fix it back. So I've been managing properties for a couple of people for a while, and it's been a really good relationship. So I take care of everything from the repairs, and when they go to remodel these properties, I'll remodel them for them. And same family, tile, drywall, repair, electric, plumbing, just, typical stuff that most homeowners would need at some point or another. But it's extremely expensive if you don't have your connections. If you got to hire an electrician off the street or a plumber off the street, it's crazy.
Yeah, and all that cuts into the profits and different margins. And
Huge.
It's like if you don't have all those connections, like you said, from the concrete all the way to the roofing, it's like you might not even make any money.
Right.
Yeah, which would be crazy.
Yeah. It's spinning your wheels.
Right. What do you look for in people who work with you, especially across like different businesses? I know obviously you said loyalty, which is huge.
Yeah. At the age, before when I was younger, it was more of scratch my back, scratch yours back kind of deal. As I've grown older and grown closer to God, that I like for people who not just say they know God, but actually show it. We all struggle. We all have our demons, and we all have our issues and our testimony and our stories. But the reality of the matter is You're always going to have that. But if you understand, if you can wrap yourself around some brothers that will keep you accountable, and you keep them accountable and keep each other pointed toward Christ, it makes life a lot easier. Now, working in that kind of environment sometimes will, you're under a microscope. So you get angry one day and something slips out of your mouth that probably shouldn't have come out. It's like, man, God don't like that, nor do I. So it helps keep you accountable. And it's done in such a manner that out of love, not out of, you slipped and fell kind of deal. Right. So it's very encouraging to have people around you that, I always say we're all walking different paths, but we have the same journey. So when you take a wrong turn or you fall down on your path, if you have somebody can pick you back up or redirect you, because we all need that.
Yeah, accountability is huge, and also just being around like-minded people are huge. As God set me free, because of Jesus, I have everything I have in my life today. But it's like you said, if I start missing my routines, like my prayer, meditation, and life group, different things I got going on, because I fill myself with too many other priorities, I start feeling it, right?
Right.
And it's like everybody needs accountability and to stay grounded.
Yeah, 100%. We talk about, it's the same thing. We go to the gym, and I go to the gym with you, and we go to the same gym, lift the same weights, spend the same amount of time. But I'm in there saying, I'm like, Adam, 30 minutes is up, man. Let's go. And you're like, Brian, come on. 5 more minutes. I'm going to do this. But I'm sitting on the bench watching you work out. But yet, 3-4 months down the road, you're benching 300 pounds, and I'm still 125, 200. Like, why is it that we go to the same gym, same amount of time, but yet you're lifting more than I can? To me, the Christian walk is the same way. We all go to church. Those who go to church, they sit on the same pew, hear the same sermon. But so what do you do when you leave? And what do you do while you're there? It's kind of been a player of a basketball team. Are you sit on the bench, or are you going to play? Well, for my whole life, I want to play the game. So I'm saying, put me in, coach. It's kind of how I say to God, put me in. So sometimes when you get in the game, it's hard. It's never what you think it is. And it's never as simple as you think it is. No matter how much you train, how much you exercise, it takes work, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes endurance. So that's kind of how, at this point in my life, how I live it. Encourage other men to just, as Peter did in the boat, you just got to get out of the boat. You can stay in that boat all you want. It's safe. Sometimes you just got to get out, walk on water. It's okay. Just remember, Christ, he will never leave you or forsake you. So sometimes we sink. That's when you got to reach up and say, help me. And he will. But when you get to the point you think you can do all this on your own, you will sink.
Right. Yeah, it's you think you're the man, everything's going great, everything's going good, and it's like pride comes before the fall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true.
So with so many projects going on at once, how you keep from burning out?
My son asked me this question the other day. He was like, Dad, what do you do for fun? I had to think about it. I love to fish, hunt, I love the lake, and don't do very little of that at all. But now for me, at church, we have life group at church with a group of men. I'll host a life group at my house. We have about 28 men that come to my house on Tuesdays, and it averages between 12 to 20, for various reasons. But for me, I get enjoyment now, and it helps me, is when I spend more time with men and you walk with them. And then there's some guys you can help, and they just get it. You sit in their eyes. And then they go on, and they do what we're called to do. You make disciples of other men. You ever meet men along the way that just become your best friends. But you also understand how important it is to tell other men of what God did for you. So for me, when my break is being around a group of men, like we just had man camp, with 167 men, 3 days in the woods, camping, and we ended up having 7 baptisms. We did 2 right there in the lake. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's what sets me on fire. So that is my, when I'm working on a secular job, whether it's houses or cars or roofing or whatever it may be, that's for monetary purposes. And I have to have it. nothing wrong with profit. I mean, even Christ said in the Bible, the parables or the talents, take your one talent. Why didn't you put it with the bankers and give me interest, right? So the same thing, God gives you talents. Are you using them? Are you investing them for the kingdom? And so I told my son, I said, I still love to fish, but now I think I'm more of a fisherman for men than I am for it. I still like to catch a good bass or a crappie or something like that, but I enjoy when I see men get it. Or in a day's time, a lot of men they're just under a lot of pressure to perform, and it's hard. Joe B. Martin, I love listening to that guy. He talks about what it means to be a godly man, not just a man, but a godly man. So like I tell my son, I've spent 46 years of my life having to unlearn what it truly means to be a man. The world teaches you nobody's going to do it but you, so go get it. That's not how the Scripture teaches us. And when you learn to reshape your thinking, it's hard. It changes everything, and it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But God has a sense of humor. So and a pain sometimes is just it's a redirection.
Right, and perspective's key, right? So it's like I can wake up and think of 50 things that suck and, why life is like this and whatnot, but I can also wake up and easily name 50 things I'm grateful for and have a positive perspective and try and bless somebody and get outside of myself. And it's like same person, just different way of thinking.
100%. An attitude of gratitude. That's what I call that. When you learn to think like that, it definitely helps your walk.
Yeah, and it's even, I think, scientifically proven, like, way better for you to actually just wake up and be grateful. It's, like, a lot healthier. Not let alone, obviously, it'll attract that to your life versus the negative aspect.
Yeah, well, there's 100%. There's people who can walk in a room, they just suck the energy out of the room. There's other people walk in the room, and you're like, man, that guy just brings some energy. That's the guy that I want to be, the guy that just brings the energy. It's kind of like either you're a fountain or a drain, and we've all been there. I don't want to be a drain to nobody.
Right. Well, and it's like as an entrepreneur, as you know, I really try and, especially now being 43 years old, I try and instantly when I feel that drain or whatever, just drop it and move on. It's like I don't got time for all that. I'm trying to get to here. And like you said, I'm trying to bring other people with me and trying to show what God's done in my life and trying to accomplish the things that I'm working on. I don't got time for all that. Right. And it's like just learning to just drop that and just focus, move on and, stay in that zone is, like you said, it's a skill set.
Yeah, it's hard. And then sometimes, you say, I want to do what. Learning to ask God to search your heart and ask what His will is. Because, I have my own set of plans. This is what I want to do. This is my plans. But sometimes they don't work out that way. And, we cross paths with people no different than you and I. It's just ironic how you and I paths we crossed. And then it started out as a business venture or a request, and then we became friends, and here we are today.
Yeah.
But the people who cross your path, in my opinion, it's for a reason, and learning to find out what that reason is. So to me, every test, every trial, every trouble, every heartache, instead of being stuck in that, I try to ask myself, okay, God, what's the lesson? Because everything we do, there's a lesson. But like you said, your perspective sometimes, if you think, the world's against me, nobody wants to see me get ahead, negative Nancy, right?
Right.
You can stay in that mindset, but if you quickly change your attitude, it's like, okay, what did I do wrong? Why did this not work? And then when you start looking at it from a mirror perspective, then you can truly see things a little different. But if you look at it from an I perspective, I wanted this and I want that, and I'm mad, God, you didn't give me this. Well, there's a reason. I have 3 kids. So my youngest son literally has wrecked everything I've put him in. And when I think about it, his first little 4-wheeler I gave him, he wrecked it. He gets on my skid steer, he wrecks it. Just wrecked a car the other day, he wrecks it. But I think about that. When I put him on a 4-wheeler, I took the governor off of it. And he said, Dad, I can do this. I can do this, Dad. So I ride with him, and he looked like he could do a pretty good job, right? I said, okay, now, Nate, don't be speeding this way. I'm going to not do donuts. Stay the course. I got it, Dad. It's okay. About a week later, come home. He'd wrecked it, flipped it, had to take the backhoe, flip it back over. I was so mad. And you guys like it, I started thinking, why am I mad at him? I'm the one who took the governor off of it. I knew better. So I think God looks at me the same way sometimes. I say, God, give this to me. I can handle it. Just give it to me. I got this. God's like, not yet, Brian. Not yet. We're still training. So God doesn't pull the governor off me until he knows it's right. His timing's always perfect. Mine as a father, I just wanted my son to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? So in terms, I overrode what I knew would probably happen.
Right.
I'm just blessed that he didn't get hurt.
Yeah. Well, we can be like that sometimes, or at least I can. Like, I want it now. I'm ready, God. Give it to me.
Yeah.
And it's like, if he would have gave it to me, it might have been the end of me.
Correct. Yeah.
Having things prematurely sometimes isn't good at all. It's like until you're actually ready to receive something.
Right.
So has there been a moment in business or life where your faith was really tested, and how did you handle it?
Probably COVID was one of the worst tests that I've had in terms of, because we went from having 40 employees down to having 3. And God still showed up and showed off because we actually made money during COVID, which is with 3 people and still had the inventory. But it tested my faith because it's like I wanted to give up. Like, okay, just shut the doors. This is my way out, right? I've been doing cars now for 35 years. Youngest dealer in the state of Kentucky. I had to wait till I turned 18 to get my license.
Nice.
So that was a tough gig then because I didn't know. I had to walk by faith because, there's times and we were deemed essential because I still had a service center. So the governor let us stay open. And that was tough. It's you're used to selling 100 cars or 200 cars a month and you sell 10.
Right.
Big difference. But the thing that is amazing is that on 10 cars, I actually made money. How funny is that? Because I didn't have the overhead.
Right.
So sometimes we have a tendency to think more is better. But in reality, sometimes less is the best.
Sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
And that's part of that perspective.
It is. And you have more peace at it once you can accept that because we all want to scale our businesses. We all want to do better and leave a legacy behind. But we always hear about, that's what I was just telling my family yesterday. I said, we all hear about generational wealth. From, BlackRock to the Rockefellers to this generational wealth. But you never hear about generational faith. I was like, if I had to leave anything behind, I'd want to leave generational faith. I want my kids, my family, to understand that what little bit I've got was given to me to be a good steward of it and to put God first. So if you can learn to teach your children that and they model what little bit they got, you have no choice. Scripturally speaking, it will increase.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely biblical.
Yeah.
So what does success look like to you through the lens of faith? Not just money, but purpose.
That's a good question. Success, I've always been taught, it's money, kind of how much you have in the bank. And we all need it. The Bible says the money's a defense. It's the love of money, it's the root of all evil. So it's not that money's bad. It's our perspective of it, right? So for me, success now is that, especially as I get older, is that I think it's Proverbs 30, 15, I think, or I can't remember exactly, but it says 2 things I ask from you, Father. Never let me be so rich that I forget and profane your holy name, and never let me be so poor that I steal and profane your holy name. So for me, success is learning to be content with what I have, not to erase the desire that it's okay to want more, but do it within the means, scripturally speaking. Do it the right way. Don't try to cheat, beat, steal somebody from something. And now that I have 3 kids, I have my son's getting ready to have actually getting ready to be a grandfather. So that's new.
Nice.
Yeah. So is that my children know God, that they come to serve Him. We all struggle along that way, but as I get older, I understand that money doesn't save you. It comes and goes.
It's real.
Yeah. So it's like, the government can shut your bank account down now. People can steal from you. They can steal your car. But your memories and your family, nobody can take that from you.
Right. So how do you keep your relationship with God strong while you're running multiple companies and got hundreds of properties? Sometimes that's got to get hectic, right?
Every morning. Oh, it's very hectic. So mine and God's favorite spot is my kitchen table. So every morning I get up and between 5:36 every morning, hour and a half, and I just read the Bible. So what I've learned how to read the Bible is like, I'm in Psalms 37 right now. It's, do not fret over evildoers, do not be envious of those who create iniquity. So learning that, so as I read, I just try to remind myself. And if I get mad at you or somebody else because I didn't get my way, I think that's probably how God thinks about me. So keeping my insanity and keeping close to God it's intentional. So if you're not intentional, it's like your relationship with your wife or your children. If you don't make it intentional, you're not going to have a relationship. You have acquaintances. So there's a difference in being intentional and acquaintances. Like for years, I had tons and tons of business acquaintances, but no friends. And now I choose friends over acquaintances. So because God has changed my heart, I understand the value of having just a good friend, and not just a friend, but several friends. If you're blessed to have that in your life. And for me, it's just men that I put around me that keep me grounded. Because it's so easy, like you said, when I can get so busy that I forget. But the one thing I don't never forget so far is to get up in the morning, say my prayers, read my Bible before I start anything. Because I don't know what the day holds.
Yeah, it's huge, like you said, to be intentional about doing that first, because it's like you don't know what these emails, texts, and social media is throwing at you. So the second you look at that and try and do that first, it's like it messes up the whole vibe with God and just getting into that zone spiritually before anything else.
It does. It's just, it helps me. It reminds me that no matter what, I think there's a song that says, I don't know what today holds, but I know who holds today. And when I learn to live my life that way, it doesn't mean I'm going to be stress-free, anxiety-free. It doesn't mean I'm not going to get angry. But it means when those things come, I know where my foundation is. And so that's where I try to keep my foot planted on the rock at all times. And sometimes you just got to take a deep breath and say, okay.
You ever do like meditation or breath work or anything?
Never do.
Yeah,
I've never done that,
I started trying to. There's this dude, Wim Hof. He's like super like cold plunger. Guys from like Europe and like just jumps in these. I'm talking like
my sons do that. Yeah,
I'm talking like real cold plunge, like literally jumping in like iced Arctic water and like just for crazy amounts of time. And this guy, I mean, it makes sense why he learned to deep breathe like that, because if you're not breathing right in there, you could die or have a heart, or who knows what could happen in those extreme temperatures. But it's like just sometimes. Is huge, man. So I'm actually starting to like incorporate breath work more, and it helps even like during workouts or running or doing like different activities I'm trying to do to accelerate my physical health. Breathing really, I never did it before, but I'm incorporating it. It's actually helping a lot in a lot of different areas.
It's no different than going to the gym. When you're bench pressing, especially if you're doing your max, it's all about breathing. You have to, if you get your breathing down pat, it's amazing how much more you can lift.
Yeah.
But it's all about breathing.
Right.
That's very true.
Yeah, if you don't inhale or exhale at the right time, you could actually like pull something. I felt in my
blow
lung before. I was
something
like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So for the people who listening who might feel lost or far from God, what would you tell them?
You got to start somewhere. So, like I have a friend, I've been working with him for years. And if you think that you've been doing your way for so long, what have you got to lose to try it another way? So I give people a challenge. And I listen to Caleb or Christian worship music all the time. So it's kind of like what you said a while ago about your perception. So what you feed yourself, you are what you eat, right? If you're going to eat a bunch of cheesecake and junk food, what's going to happen?
feel all lethargic and
Yeah.
hit.
But if you stayed lean, eat some steak, eat a little salad, small portions of it, you eat good quality food, makes you feel better, right? Now we still take a little cheesecake, a little something here, sweets. I have a sweet tooth myself. So life is the same way. So what goes into your ears, what you see with your eyes, biblically speaking, it affects you more than you think. So I tell guys all the time, I said, just do a 30-day challenge. Listen to nothing but worship music. You will find yourself turning on whatever genre of music you like, whether it's rock or country, because it's what you're used to. Then turn it right back, because you're training yourself. It's like you're breathing. You train yourself to listen, because what you put in is what comes out. The Bible says it's not what goes in a man's stomach, because it asks us that it's what comes out of your mouth that defiles a man. So what you put in your mind, what you put in your eyes, what you put in your ears, what you put in everything, that's what we're going to regurgitate, whether you want to or not. It just comes out. So learning to train yourself, and if you're just, the church thing, the life group thing, or being around them, it's just not for me. The question is, how's it been working for you so far? If it hasn't, then I want you to try it God's way. Just do it 30 days. Try it. And so I challenge, and I've never had nobody come back and say, I'm out. Because if you truly do that, it changes you from the inside out. See, happiness doesn't come from out here. The money, the cars, the houses, the planes, the boats, that's all. It's just extra. That's great. It doesn't make you happy. You mentioned Elon Musk and all the billionaires we talk about. Those guys, how many hours a week they work? 80, 90 plus? Why? They got what we call generational wealth. But you're still seeking for something, because we're all seeking for something. But when you realize that what you're seeking for isn't that far away. So as we did a topic, they just God chase you. The problem of that is like you belong to God. He's never left you. So why would he chase you? The problem is we're running. We just got to stop and yield. And as men, that's the hardest thing I see with men, including myself, is we won't yield. Even when we know we're wrong, we just will not yield. But when you stop and just take a deep breath, like you said, and say, God, I'm here, and turn around, God's always there. He's never left you. We're the one running. So you just got to start somewhere and find someone who, will encourage you scripturally, biblically, not worldly, to be a better man, be a better person, a better woman. And, and if one church don't work for you, that's okay. Go to another one. Find something that works for you, because you have to be plugged in. Still today, the worst punishment today that we still use in prisons and we use at wartime is solitude. It's great every now and then to get together and have a solitude time and have your time and think about things. We're not made to be alone. God didn't design you that way. We are to be community-based people. That's why social media works, right?
Well, and it's like that isolation, usually comes with despair, loneliness, anxiety. And it's like you're saying, even in like addiction, I guess probably for any addiction, but, for me personally, like addiction to drugs and alcohol, until you actually have that spiritual awakening, right, you're going to be dependent on other things to change the way you feel.
Correct.
And it's like, the gym or hiking or being outside in sunlight, just nature, grounding, breath work, like all these things we're saying intertwine, and then you throw God and spirituality into it and it makes you whole. It's like you learn how to get the dopamine and serotonin flowing positively, naturally.
Right.
Where, I didn't know how to do that before.
No, and it's not that I've mastered any of this, but I understand, because I still have my bad days. I ask my wife, my kids, there's just days, that it's just tough days. There's just days life just sucks. You know what I mean? But that's okay. I think that's the part about reading Scripture and being in the Word. Helps you understand, there's 66 books in the Bible, and I don't know of any Bible character that didn't have trials, troubles, and tribulations. There's not once where, Adam was born and lived happily ever after. Nope. I've not seen one of those in there.
Right.
There's trials, troubles in your life, because it's what grows you. If you're not being stretched, you're not growing. It's like going to the gym. If you go in there and pick up 100 pounds every day, that's all you're ever going to do. But if you and I go together, I say, Adam, I'm going to throw 10 on there. I can't do it. Yeah, you can. I got you. The next thing you know, you lift 110. then you're 120. They say you're up to 200 because together we can do this. The worst place alone I can be is in my own head. That's absolutely the worst place. So I try to stay out of my head.
Absolutely. So what drives you every morning to keep building?
To see where it ends up. I mean, it's like God has blessed me. I've only been doing this building thing for probably 5 or 6 years. And it has grown. I've been doing cars 35. I've been doing building for like 5 or 6. And the building has doubled the car business. And I'm like, when you sit and look at it on paper, I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool. So it's like, so when I see that number-wise, God's doing something. I don't know what it is and why he's doing it, but I know he's doing something. You can't just do what I've done in 5 or 6 years, quote, quote, by yourself. There's a reason. I don't know what the reason is, but I know there's a reason. So I get up every morning and just ask God, what are we going to do today? You know what I mean? And some days, you know, it's like you work all day at the car lot and you don't sell no cars. It's frustrating. I've been here, 10, 12 hours and didn't make $1. Matter of fact, it cost me.
Right.
But I get up, I do it again because we have hope. It's the hope of a better tomorrow that keeps me coming back. I know also, that I'm not going to be able to do this the rest of my life. But good Lord willing, I can. My dad's 76 years old, and he runs wide open still to this day. So I think it's very much, like you said, it's a perspective. And I just learned to appreciate things. I've had cancer. I've had 2 cancer surgeries, 3 cancer surgeries. So I can remember the first time I had cancer. I remember where I was at. I remember when they called. I remember what they told me. And they said, you have like I had this little spot on my eye. And my wife, I thought my son had just kept scratching me, playing horseplay with him, and it wouldn't heal. And so my wife said, that don't look right. So she took me, and they biopsied it. They come back, and when they called me, hey, it's cancer. But on a good note, we caught it early. I think we can cut it out. No big deal, but you're going to need a plastic surgeon, octologist, and then the oncologist, 3 surgeons, because it's so close to my eye. And I first went in. I mean, I was just for 2 weeks. It's like, it's okay if you got cancer. I mean, I'll pray for you, brother. You're okay. But when it happens to yourself, it let all the air out of my cell. And then it's like one day I just woke up. And I was like, that's not a death sentence. You know what I mean? That's more of an awakening because life is short. People die every day without cancer. They're going down the road in a car, they die. It's your perspective, like you said. So just because I'm diagnosed with cancer, it doesn't give me a timestamp. Only God timestamps people. So,
yeah, that's real.
Yeah,
and it's like you said, that's all perspective too, and perseverance.
Yep.
So you've clearly built something massive. What keeps you humble in the process? I can tell you got some humbleness and humility, and that takes work as well.
It's not forgetting where you come from. I mean, I grew up as poor as Job's turkey. My mom still lives in Eastern Kentucky. My dad lives here. I think what keeps me humble is knowing that where I came from. I never forgot that. I know what it's like to dig coal out of a mountain to heat your house because that's the only heat you got. I know what it's like to cut trees down and use it for firewood because that's all you got. I know what it's like to have nothing to eat other than what you raised out of the garden and mom canned, right? So I remember all those things. And I think sometimes, for me, and I tell my kids these stories because they don't have a clue, is as parents, we always want better for our kids. We work hard. We miss ball games. We miss all kinds of stuff because we want to provide better for them. And I started thinking, I was like, being poor is what made me who I am. It keeps me humble. I know what it is to be in need or to wear a pair of pants or shoes with holes in them. My mom would never let me wear pants with holes in them. So she would always repatch my pants. And you'd have a pair of wore-out blue jeans that are white. And she'd put a bright blue patch on it. And that's all you had to wear. I'm like, really? Just let the hole be there. It was more embarrassing to have them patched than it was to leave the hole in them. Right. Mom said, I'm not letting you wear jeans with holes in them. So it's learning to just remember where I came from and not forget where I came from, and to teach my kids that we're at any given time, all that I'm required to do is just to be a good steward, no different than what you're doing. You've been a good steward of what God gave you your talents for. And if you're a good steward of what God gives you, he'll bless you with more. And until you learn to steward what he's given you, why would you ever give anybody more? It's no different than the banker story. If I can't handle $5,000, why would you give me 10?
Right.
Right? So you got to learn to handle with what's been given to you, and understand that yes, you want more, but with more that's given, what the Bible says, well, to more to he's been given a lot, there's a lot required.
Yeah.
So all that I have, it's not mine. When I truly say that God could take it tomorrow. Job is a prime example. So I'm trying to keep remembrance that I'm just here to steward what he gives me and those he puts in my path.
Bless others around you, and God will bless you.
Yeah.
Well, and like you said, you'll never see a U-Haul behind a hearse, right? We can't take it with us anyways.
Can't take nothing with you.
As long as, like you said, you get some kind of generational stuff going so that your family and your grandkids are taken care of. It's like, why not?
But you have to teach your kids and your grandkids. So probably over half the houses I have bought is because the parents died, left the house to the child, didn't teach the child about what I'm leaving you this home. So the kids went and borrowed money against it. It wasn't theirs, and they lost it, kept the money and ran. So the mom and dad worked so hard to buy this house, to keep it over a roof over their kids' heads, and the kids get it, and they just squander it. I couldn't tell you how many houses I've bought. You go in the house, still family pictures, heirlooms. The kids come in, they're looking for where mom and dad hide the cash. And if there's guns, take them. But I've given probably 20 truckloads of stuff to Goodwill because people just leave it behind. The mom and dad die, and they just leave everything. All they're wanting is the money. It's the craziest thing. It's sad. It's very, very sad. I bet you I have probably 100 Bibles because every house, the parents always have the Bibles. There's so many Bibles I have. And I just give them away when an opportunity comes,
Right. So how has your success allowed you to give back to the community, like besides that, and help others get started? I know you were a blessing with my event. Because of you, we were able to give somebody a car, and it ended up being somebody who really needed it. So that was awesome.
Yeah, that was really fun. We had a good time with that. Seen a lot of people that I'd seen years ago that was there too.
Yeah.
I think for me, blessing other people back is it's took me a while to learn it because I grew up poor, and I worked hard for what I got. Right, it's hard to give it away because I feel like I just give it away. But when you understand to be a good steward of it, it's not hard anymore. Of all the scriptures, God says, do not challenge God. Do not tempt him. Malachi, God says, try me. Try to outgive me. He said, the gates of heaven, your barns will be filled and they'll be overflowing. So that's one challenge most people would never want to challenge because they don't want to give anything away. They don't help other people. So for me, at the stage of my life right now, I got a couple guys I'm working with. I'm trying to help them get homes, get them in touch with the banker. This is a process. You can't just go tomorrow and get a home. You need to save. Get a 2-year plan. I need you to save this much money. So my wife and I, out of our employees' checks, we keep money. We create savings accounts for employees. Some companies do 401k. We withhold money and we put it back into a fund for those. So I think this is going to be the 4th or 5th year that we're taking our whole company on a cruise.
Nice.
So we've taken them. So we shut the company down, and there's usually 15 to 30 people who go. And so it's when you give back to those people, because my wife and I used to think, okay, for Christmas bonus, here's your $1,000. Here's the bonus, here's your $500 based on the time you work. What we realized is money comes and money goes. Memories stay. So if you can create memories for people around you, they will always remember those things. Above and beyond the money. I couldn't tell you about money. I can tell you about my memories, though. So we try to help our employees create memories, and in the process, the ones that are now on board, and I think half the car lot, I've baptized half the car lot now. It's crazy. And from years ago when it was drug infested and you're trying to keep everybody out, now you walk in, it's K-Love playing, everybody, they still have bad days, but they calm each other down in the name of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? It's really cool. So it's amazing how God has worked in my life because I started giving back to other people. But it starts with you. It starts with me. If you want godly men, and in my opinion, the problem that you see with the world and all the issues that you see going on around us right now is you don't have godly men. You have men who go to church, men who say, I know God, but what do you do? It's like, hey, I'm part of a basketball team. I've never seen you play yet. I'm just sitting on the sidelines. If you want to change this world, it starts with men. And I'm not male chauvinistic, so I don't mean it that way. But scripturally speaking, as men, it's our job to take care of our wife and our kids and those that are around us. Until you find men who are willing to do that at all costs, you're not going to change the world. But when you get a small group of guys who are willing to stand up for what's right, willing to suffer because it is the right thing to do, willing to give your last dollar, it's the right thing to do. It's like, I tell guys, if I go to a gas station and I don't have no money, but I'm following you, you reach in your pocket to pay it, you drop a $100 bill. I say, well, thank you, Lord, you paid for my gas? Or do I say, hey, man, you dropped your $100? It's perspective, right?
Right.
Because most people say, Lord just provided me $100. Thank you.
Integrity.
Yeah. But if I take that $100 and I say, hey, excuse me, sir, you dropped this, you might be able to say, hey, man, I appreciate that. And you create a friend, or he may just give you the money. But either way, you have integrity.
Well, and there's a piece that comes with that, too. It's like just being able to sleep at night, knowing, like you woke up, you did the right thing, you helped some people. And for me personally, it's like when I used to do shady things or, like do criminal things when I was in that mindset and addiction. Never slept good, man. Never. I don't even remember an 8-hour actual sleep, not let alone probably actually having to take something to sleep.
Right.
But just being able to go to bed, at like 11 and wake up at like 6 naturally and, sleep great you can't really put a price on that.
It's not. It's priceless.
Yeah. So what do you want your kids or the next generation to learn from your example? Integrity and...
Do it sooner.
You don't got to wait a certain age to do it. You can do the next right thing right now.
There's a young man in one of our groups, and he's like 25 years old, and just he's on fire for God, right? And I'm like, I pray sometimes, when I pray, I'm like, God, why did you wait till I was 48, 49 years old to give me a heart to serve you or want to serve you, right? And the answer is always the same. I just wasn't ready. So until you get ready, God doesn't need me and you as run around as errand boys or to be on a podcast talking about, he doesn't need us. But if we allow him and we choose him, he will use us. And there's a huge difference between that. So for my kids, I encourage them to build those godly relationships with other men and women. Build your friend circle, a godly friend circle. In this lifetime, we're going to have trials, troubles, and tribulations. It's just what it is, right? The book of James says, count it all joy. Sometimes, like, how do you count this joy, right? It's freaking hurts. But when you have other people around you that can help you pack the load, I tell you the most, I've read the Bible numerous times, but my wife was watching a movie on Amazon. It's called The Bible or something. And I just come in on the last section when Christ was getting crucified. And we all know that Christ was beaten, he couldn't carry his own cross, and he had to have help. But the way this movie depicted it, it dawned on me because it'd be like Jesus couldn't pack his own cross. Then the soldiers got a man out of the crowd to come and help him. So Jesus was on one side of the cross, the man was on the other, and together they carried that cross up to the hill. It made me think, even Jesus on his earth, he needed people. He needed his fellow man. So that really made me start thinking is, I can't do this alone. And some of these, as men, I've always thought, I got this. I can do this. If it don't work out with him, I'll find somebody else. Even Jesus couldn't do it alone. So we need each other. I think I'd never really ever seen that perspective before in my life. And it really changed my perspective on my love for other men and people in our lives. Love is one of the most things in your life that it hurts. Honestly, it just sucks. Because to truly love somebody, it hurts. They're going to probably lie to you, steal from you, cheat you. No different than what me and you've done in our past, right?
Right.
We've hurt a lot of people that loved us. But they still loved us. And so for me to change my heart to understand what love really means, love is not so much a feeling. Love is, it's a verb. It's an action. And Christ portrayed that through all Scripture when he was here, that he loved us. And his actions proved that. So for me, I want my kids to understand when you truly love people, you show them. It's not as simple as just say, man, I love you, Adam. You show up when they need you. You answer the phone when they call. You talk for an hour if they need to listen. That's love.
Absolutely. So what's next for you, brother? Any new projects, expansions, or goals you're working towards? I know you said you got that new company going.
Right now, I'm just we got about 20 houses sitting right now, so my goal is to just finish them. But it's so funny, when I get finished, I got 2 more rises. So it's just, God's doing amazing work in the life of my family right now. And so I'm just trying to keep up. But in keeping up with God, it's exhausting.
Right.
I enjoy the blessings that he's gave me. There's a lot of heartache that comes with it. But again, goes back to your perspective. It's like I understand that God is doing something in my life. Even though I don't understand it, I just got to come up. I just got to show up. Showing up is half the battle. It's like going to the gym. Just show up. If you do a little every day, you're going to get increases. Just show up. Get up and show up.
Suiting up and showing up's the hardest part sometimes. I don't want to go to the gym, but the second I get there and I start doing what I got to do, I'm so glad that I went.
Have you ever been to the gym or been to church and said, man, I wish I hadn't done that?
No.
How many times have you watched a movie like, dude, I just wasted an hour and a half of my time watching that stupid movie?
Right. Never waste an hour and a half at the gym or in church, though.
That's right.
So if anybody wants to get in touch, maybe buy a car, rent a property, collaborate, where's the best place to reach you?
Well, I just give you my personal cell phone number. I'm really busy, but I'm always accessible 24/7. That's what I'll tell all the guys that work for me, employees. And, I may not always answer, but if I don't, leave me a text. But it's 859-314-4985. That's the best way to get up with me.
There you go. There's a legit person when they leave their cell phone number for you. So what do you want to leave the audience with today? Any final words of wisdom or encouragement?
Well, if God can take someone like me who was, just disheartened, not sure, just try it. I would think life is short. Would you have lived longer than you have to live? It changes your perspective on things. And I've spent most of my life chasing a dream. And when God realized that my family, he sustains me. Anything beyond that is just a blessing. So I'm learning, not that I've mastered anything, to put him first. And it's hard. It's really hard, especially in a world that's just, it's stabbing at you for your time all the time, from all the social media, everything that's going on. It's really hard. And we all need encouragement, because I don't care who you are. You just get tired. So learning to get plugged back in to God's Word, that's what charges your battery. Just like your cell phone, your computer. If you don't plug it in, it's going to go dead. So stay plugged in. You can only run so long on the charge that's been given to you.
It's a new plug. Get plugged in.
Yeah.
I love it. So I appreciate you, Brian. Every guest that comes on, I'll make sure they get some cool GITT apparel so they can check it out. Cool. You got that shirt? So I got for you, figure it's perfect. We got the
that,
Inspire to be better.
Yep. I love it.
Get motivated.
It's
Live your best life. No regrets.
That's right. Thank you, brother.
And if you want some of the merch, check out the website, GITTLIVE, GitLive.com. And if you like this video and want to hear more inspirational, motivational CEOs and entrepreneurs like myself, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you, Adam. Pleasure.